In this video, we're talking all about some of these discounted tickets and like packages that Disneyland and Walt Disney World is offering right now. We're also going to talk about some attractions added to Genie Plus at Disneyland Resort. A lot to discuss today with, the one and only, the Italiano, Mr. Citrus George, up next on OG 55. Welcome aboard to another episode of OG 55. I am joined by Mr. Citrus George to discuss the discounts that we're getting here at Disney World and Disneyland. We're going to talk about some Lightning Lane Genie Plus kind of news. A lot to discuss today. George, if you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You could find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on the podcast, A Walk with Walt. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Absolutely. I got to adjust my camera, dude. My hair's getting so tall, it doesn't even fit in this shot.
Yeah,
anymore,
you gotta lower it because that hair just keeps growing, bro.
Telling you, man, the taller the hair, the closer to Walt, right?
You need a shirt for that.
I know, I do. Yeah, absolutely. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Because that's yours. That should be part of the OG 55 merch.
Yeah, exactly on Teespring, 100%. So let's go ahead and dive into this, man. This is crazy, all right? So Disney just launched a bunch of new park deals, including half-off hotel, ticket packages, dining discounts, and more. So this is courtesy of Yahoo, actually. It says here from $50 kids tickets, hotel discounts, and dining promo cards, both Disney World and Disneyland have new ways to save on your next trip. It says here, I'm not gonna read the whole article. I hate when content creators do that. I'm gonna touch upon it and we're gonna talk about it. But it says here, just ahead of the most magical time of the year, both Disney World and Disneyland have announced money-saving offers to help families budget for their upcoming vacations. Okay. So for starters, Disney World is offering a 50%. They're offering 50% the purchase of a 4-night, 4-day stay for children in your party ages 3 to 9, beginning November 14th. Packages including a dining plan, theme park tickets, and a room at select Disney World hotels. The offer is valid for most days, March 3rd through June 30th, 2024. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here. I'll link the article down below so everyone home can kind of read up on exactly what they're offering here. But George, what do you think what's going on here, man? Why are they doing this? Good, bad? Is it a red flag or what's going on?
Okay, so in my personal opinion, and a lot of people are going to come to the conclusion that because recently Walt Disney World hasn't been doing so hot with the guests going through the turnstiles. Let's be honest, it is what it is. But
right.
I feel like that if it is because of that, it's not because that Disney is unsuccessful. It is because of the times that we are going through right now with finances. Just people. So much is going on right now within the economy and what have you that people can't take big trips, like they used to right now. It's there's a possible recession coming. A lot of things went down back in 2008. We're kind of seeing that go through within our country and what have you. So I feel like this is Disney's way of saying, hey, you don't have to sacrifice one or the other. If you still want to be able to come to Walt Disney World, we'll give you some of these offers. And I feel like Disney has been needing this for quite some time. And I know that they really couldn't do too much as far as with special discounted offers, them just trying to get up on their feet from the shutdown and the pandy and what have you. They needed as much as they possibly could. And people were willing to spend that much because, after it being closed for Disneyland, especially 412 days, right, and then several months for Walt Disney World and even longer for the Disney Cruise Line, that people were just yearning to get back to the parks. And people were willing to fork out whatever they could. but now that people are, those funds are gone, they have to get back on their feet, start working again, start saving. And sometimes you have to take care of business over pleasure. But I feel like these discounted rates are not Disney being desperate. I feel like this is a way for them to make revenue, but also just to allow folks to come back to the parks. Because I feel like that's the main reason why a lot of people aren't going to Walt Disney World, because it is a tourist destination where there's a lot of traveling, a lot of airfare back and forth. Where with Disneyland, it's more where people can travel, but a lot of locals tend to go there and they just get in their car and they drive several hours or 20 minutes down the road. Where with Walt Disney World, it's a much different equation.
Yeah, 100%. Now you said Disneyland was closed for 400 and something days. I think we have the governor on the phone. He wants to say something.
Time to grow up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Newsom. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, no. I mean, look. Here's the thing. It's funny with fans, right? Like, because you kind of get this is so funny because you kind of get into this thing where we're like, you see all the social media buzz, where I see it all the time because I'm so in this world, and so are you. Where it's like fans will be like, well, look at Universal, man. Like, they're giving Cabana Bay rooms out for basically nothing, and they're so cheap and affordable, and the tickets are this, that, and the other, and they give discounts. Why doesn't Disney give discounts? All this stuff, right? So they're kind of complaining that, like, why doesn't Disney do this, right? And then when Disney does this, instead of being like, hey, you know what, Disney? Good on you. You're doing what Universal's doing, and you're making it more affordable for us. Thank you, right? No, it's, ha, you're failing. What a failure. The parks are doomed, that whole thing. So it's like this thing where it's like, you guys want the discounts, and then when you get the discounts, you just want to mock them and say the company's collapsing. Look, I can't speak for Walt Disney World, but because it's been now a couple months since I've been there, but Disneyland has been very busy. The crowds at Disneyland have been very robust. So I would be very hard pressed to believe that this is, at least for Disneyland, any kind of move towards we're desperate for people, we're desperate for bodies in the parks. The parks at Disneyland have been freaking busy, okay? Really, really busy. I know when George and I were there recently, we were going through like downtown Disney and stuff, and then we couldn't even walk, man. I haven't seen it that busy at Disneyland Resort in years, pre-Pandy, you know? So I think you're right, George. I think that Disney is sort of being a little proactive here, and they're saying, hey, look, you know what? We got some economic issues on the horizon. You know, people are kind of like tightening their belts a little bit. We'll go ahead and give these discounts out to sort of like offset or sort of like cut any problems off, nip any problems in the bud before they become a real problem, right? So they're offering these discounts. Now, the children's discount, in my opinion, is actually kind of brilliant because I think it's like from ages 3 to 9 is what I think it's like a
Correct.
get. That's brilliant because obviously if you're the age 3 to 9, you're not going to the park by yourself.
Right.
Well, you get the kid in for $50, but the parents still need to get a ticket, right? The parents still need to have a way to get into the park. So Disney's now snatching the $50 ticket for the kid, but then also whatever the parents have to do to take that kid. I think that's a smart move. I think that's a really, really smart move. So yeah, I think they're just making moves, man. I think the company right now, look, they're depending on the parks. They're leaning into the parks right now. It's no secret streaming is a shit show and having problems. There's no secret that the box office is down. There's no secret that Disney's having issues in these other areas. So why not try to get as many people in those gates, in those turnstiles as you can? That doesn't always mean the company is, oh my God, doomed, it's collapsing. Oh my God, the parks are doomed, this, that, and the other. It doesn't always mean that. Disney's been doing this for actually kind of a long time, you guys. I remember back in I think it was like 2009 when Disney decided they're going to do a monthly payment plan for the annual passes. Okay, I mean that was long before Disney went woke. That was long before the current issues they have right now, and they still did it, right? So I think there's other reasons involved with this move. Just like at Universal is discounting all day long. I mean, Universal loves discounting. Do I think Comcast Universal is going through are they going to collapse or are they desperate? I don't think so. I think they're doing just fine, actually. I think they're actually really good, to be honest with you. It's just they want to get as many people as they can. It's a corporation, what I'm saying?
And they even even going back further, Disney used to do for Walt Disney World with the dining plan before it went away. They used to have spring and summer deals where if you buy a 6 night, 7 day vacation package, you can get free dining. So I mean, and that was way before, like as you had mentioned, like all this going down. So how come there was no talk of it then? It was just, oh, cool, Disney is offering a promotion. You get free dining if you stay there 6 nights, 7 days at the property. Let's book a vacation time between like spring and summer.
Right.
So now there's always some sort of negativity tag that's attached to this, no matter which way you look at it. Even just recently, WDW News Today released some photos at Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World, and lo and behold, there are some crowds there. Especially with the line for It's a Small World. It was like backed up all the way through. I believe it went into Frontierland, or started heading into Frontierland. So, and this is even before all these discounts are going into effect. Now,
Right.
could this be a fluke for that particular time? It could be, or it may not be. But I feel like that there's two different types of groups. You have the groups like us. We are like the norms. We go not the norms, but we are the Disney
We're not
nerd.
normal, George.
No,
We're
no, we're not normal. We're the Disney nerd norm. Like we're the
Right.
norms that go like consistently all the time. So for us, we're okay with it. So if we see not too many bodies in the parks, we're like, oh geez, bells and whistles are going off. What the heck is happening? But then you have that typical family from Colorado that go, and if they see that the parks are slam packed, they're thinking, oh man, we wish that it was an off season where there's no bodies in the park. So you have the normies, and then you have the diehard fanatics, that kind of look at it through different perspectives, depending on where you stand. Yes, this was a photo that was taken, and to me, I mean, that looks like a healthy day at the Magic Kingdom.
And Tom or Bell, I'm not sure who's actually reporting on this. I don't know which one of their correspondents, but I mean, they obviously feel like it's notable as well. They took a picture of it, and it says here, Magic Kingdom is packed this morning with the little eyeball emojis. So obviously, look, these parks. I'm not saying that like Disney World has had like the greatest run this summer. Like when we were there, it was actually pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard like recently they haven't had. It's been kind of a dry spell. It's kind of ebbing and flowing. It seems like right now the crowds are back, but yeah, these parks, I think they're doing okay enough. I think what they want to do is they want to kind of like, just basically incentivize and get more and more and more people in as they can, just like Universal does, you guys, when they discount their stuff and they give away Cabana Bay for freaking nothing. Basically, it's all for the same reasons, So I think we're okay, but it's interesting. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, though, I mean, it's good for fans, right? Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, so why not? I think it's good for fans, and I think that it'll accomplish the goal. I think it will incentivize quite a few people to get into the parks. It is curious though why Magic Kingdom is so busy. I don't know. Is there a holiday coming up? Is there something right now? From what I understand, I mean, I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure.
It's
possible because I know that the Monday I was there for Disneyland, that was packed. Like you would have thought that was a weekend, and then I realized I believe it was the Jewish holiday that was going on, Rosh Hashanah. So that explains it. So there may be something. I don't know too much of the dates.
I'm looking here on my phone. I guess Monday is Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day, so that could play into this absolutely. But again, even Columbus Day in the equation, if people were turned off to the mouse, why are they going to Disney on Columbus Day?
Exactly. And they may be going because it's their time off. They get a day off, so they can maybe schedule some time hey, their kids are off of school, so, who wouldn't? So yes, if anything, that's a positive thing.
Yeah. So obviously the normies aren't too concerned with the internet narratives. It seems like Disney is alive and well. It will continue to be okay. But yeah, this is good news for fans. There will be a lot of spin out there that like this is a sign that Disney is collapsing or the parks are this, that, and the other. And until I see evidence otherwise, I'm not going to believe it. I think they're doing just fine. So let's move on to our next topic, which is also from WDWNT today. 2 more attractions coming to Genie Plus at Disneyland Resort. 2 more attractions will be added to Genie Plus service at Disneyland Resort. 2 family-friendly rides will join the bundle. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, coming soon, and The Little Mermaid Aerial Undersea Adventure will be joining next month. Now, this is interesting, George. I don't know how I feel about this. I gotta be honest. Because it's like Ariel is like a people eater. So you're gonna add this Genie Plus into the equation. I'm afraid it's gonna kind of muck up the works a little bit and kind of make that a little bit a longer line than it usually is.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, man?
I think, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, it didn't really surprise me because they're already on the roster for like individual purchase along with Rise of the Resistance. So that attraction is already used to having, the guest flow, for, if you do like an individual lightning lane, but they're just going to end up putting it in the roster, which I think is fine, because they're already used to it being over there with, okay, here's the standby line, here's the Genie Plus line, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is popular over in Toontown. Now, with Ariel's, that's where I'm kind of like scratching my head because Ariel's wasn't even on any roster for Genie Plus. You would just get in line and the latest, the most you would ever wait is like 15, 20 minutes, even if that. And the way that the queue line is, it's constantly moving because the way the ride system is. So I don't even know like where you would even put this extra line of people for Genie Plus. Like, I don't know like where, because the building is already kind of already set in stone. I mean, obviously they have a way because they wouldn't have been adding it to, but even so, I think that's going to cause a lot of congestion over there.
Yeah.
That is just unneeded.
Yeah, I don't know really what the reasoning behind it is, to be honest with you, other than the money end of it. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's weird because like Mermaid is always like a walk on, and it's not because it's not popular. And that's the thing. A lot of fans kind of like they misinterpret, right? Oh, Mermaid's a walk on, therefore no one likes it. No, it's an omni mover. It's constantly moving it. It's a people eater. It has great capacity. That's why it's a walk on. But there's always a lot of people there. It's a popular attraction. So maybe Disney is like, hey, you know what? We can monetize the hell out of this thing, which I don't agree with necessarily. Like, I think that the Mermaid thing is a bad move. I got to be honest. I mean, because like, I don't know. I think that like, the ride seems to be going smoothly. Like, why muck that up? And it feels like they're mucking it up because they want that good Genie Plus money. Hey, speaking of money, hold on one sec, George.
Brand new money, brand new hundreds, got a bunch of zeros like a bag of new Funyuns.
That's what Disney is saying right now with the Little Mermaid. They're looking at the Genie Plus money going, okay, we can do this, right? So it's a money thing because there was no operational issue with Mermaid. It's a fast, it eats people up. It's moving people through very fast. Like, there's no need for it.
And it's almost like a psychological thing because when people pay into Genie Plus, by them adding an attraction in there, it makes psychologically the guests say, ooh, they're adding another attraction to this. Right. So that entices you, hey, might as well, let's buy into Genie Plus, where meanwhile, they could just get right in the standby line less than 5 minutes and just jump on the ride.
I don't get it. Yeah, you're right, though. Genie Plus is a psychological thing because, like, when you see it on there, you go, oh, this ride must be really popular, right? So we got to jump on that. We got to pay that $30 to get on Little Mermaid, So it's interesting. Now, like, Runaway Railway is kind of the same situation in a lot of ways where it's like, it's a very popular ride. I've never really had issues waiting like extensively for this attraction. It's a people eater, but they want to do it. Now, I can kind of see that, though, more than Mermaid, because I think Runaway Railway is more in demand right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of see it, but I think it still kind of comes to the same kind of rationale as the Mermaid ride, where I think they're just looking at that money and they're going, okay, we can capitalize on this,
Yeah.
For better or worse,
but you have to think, you did a money drop for Ariel. You have to give a money drop for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
There we go. Let's do a money drop.
Give me the drop, some money, dropping on my money, drop some money.
There we go. La Lisa. She's giving us the money. That's exactly what it was, you know? So I don't know. I think operationally it's a bad move. I think it's going to really muck up the works for both of these attractions. Man, especially Mermaid, dude. Because that ride, that's the beauty of those kind of attractions where like, even like when we had the People Mover back here at Disneyland like years and years ago, the attractiveness of it was that there was no line because it would feed people through and you can just jump on and it's a chill kind of experience. And Mermaid is sort of DCA's People Mover. There's like, even if there's a line, it goes through really quick and you get on, it's a chill kind of air conditioned experience.
And Mermaid was always a strategic attraction. So if you were to get a Genie Plus or a Lightning Lane, just to say for like the Incredicoaster or Radiator Springs Racers, you could always go into Ariel to kind of buy your time until you wait for your return time. But it also makes me wonder that if this does move very quickly with the standby line, if people do get on the Genie Plus and they see it as a 5-minute ride time, because it gives the wait times, you know, before you purchase it.
Right.
Well, you already have the Genie Plus purchase, but to make a return time for it, are people really going to make a return time for 5 minutes? It's like, I wonder if people, that's why I wonder if Disney is more so utilizing it just to say, for the sake of saying it, hey, we added another attraction onto the Genie Plus roster. Spend your $30 because we added an extra ride to it.
That's a great point. Yeah, we add another ride to it, and so it sort of bolsters the value of Genie Plus. So there's a lot of money, corporate stuff going on behind the scenes with this. As a fan, look, I'll say it, dude, man. We criticize Disney when we feel like they deserve it. This is not a good move. I think I think we can kind of both agree on that. This is not a good move. This is something that, like, I think will impact fans in a negative way. So, well, I mean, we'll see how it kind of all shakes out, but yeah, I'm not too thrilled with it, to be honest with you. I think that it's
I think it's a bad move on Disney's part with the as I said, I could see a little bit more for the Runaway Railway, but I still can see your point with it because it's still another attraction that constantly, you know, moves people in and out, you know, so it's like, if it's not broken, don't fix it, so to speak, you know. Now, as far as like the discounts for the hotels, the tickets, the dining, that is a great strategic move on Disney's part. You know, to get people's butts down there, to entice them to say, hey, you know what, we're still thinking about you. And that's what a lot of gripe is. You know, people are saying Disney's not thinking of the fans, they're only thinking of themselves. Well, at the end of the day, it's a corporate business. They have to kind of think for themselves to keep their heads above water. But at the same time, when they do things like this, they are thinking of us fans because essentially they want people down there.
Right. It's a kind of a symbiotic sort of thing, right? Where so like, okay, so you get your discount and Disney gets more bodies in the park who are inevitably going to spend more money on churros and ice creams and you know, Coca-Cola and all that stuff. So it's a symbiotic thing, like, hey, you pat my back, I'll pat yours kind of situation. Yeah, but like no one ever sees it that way. It's always like this big evil kind of like sinister thing, right? And then Universal does it. Oh, look at them, you know, Comcast, man, they care about their fans, you know. It's like, no, Comcast is the same thing. And I'm not faulting Comcast for that. Comcast is a business too. They're just as big as Disney. They're a multinational megacorp they're trying to make their money too. They're trying to get their bag too. And there's nothing wrong with that. But to pretend like Universal's out there just like, oh man, doing like the Lord's work and like, you know, charity, and Disney's out here every time they discount, it's like, oh, well, either they're collapsing or there's some evil reason behind it. It's just ridiculous, man. All these companies are just trying to make their money. And then they're going to do it any way they can. And that's what it really boils down to. So, you know, we'll see. You know, I'm fans of both. I like going to Universal. I like going to Universal. I like checking that out. It's actually refreshing to go to something different every now and then. You know,
absolutely.
Sometimes you kind of get like desensitized to like Disney. You want to try something else and then come back. You know, but to pretend like they're just looking out for you, like Comcast, and Disney is like, oh, well, you know, when they discount, it's like some evil, sinister thing. It's like, come on, dude. It's so fucking ridiculous. It really is, you know? I don't know. That's kind of where I stand with it. So a lot of stuff happening though, dude. A lot of stuff. You know,
Disney's making moves. They're making moves.
They're making moves, dude. I mean, hey, dude. I'm telling you, some of these hotel discounts and stuff. It's really enticing. You want to go back to the Poly, George?
Yeah.
I don't know. With that, I don't even know. I didn't even read all of it. Like,
they probably add like I have to go through it in detail, like the what's all behind it. I'm for sure like if you stay at a deluxe resort, you get the highest percentage off. Normally, if you stay at a value, it's usually like about 15-20%. Depending on, which is still great, you know, and I think and honestly the value resorts, you know, just staying on Disney property is a vacation in itself. You know, if you're going to do Disney, it's best to stay at Disney, and honestly with the value resorts, they're just as fun, you know, if not more fun, because there's some value resorts that's tied to the Skyliner that you can get back and forth to the park, which I know you're not a huge fan of the Skyliner.
No.
But yeah, it's just being in that bubble. You know, you're in that immersive Disney bubble, and it's always a great feeling when you walk through that lobby. You're ready to check in. You see the Disney store in the lobby. You see the food court and what have you, and it's just like it makes you feel like you're back at home. Which essentially for me as a Disney fan, I am. You know, when I go to Disney, I'm home.
Yeah. No, I know the bubble is a thing in Florida. I mean, now that I've been there and I've seen it, like it's a thing. Even without the Magical Express and all that stuff, which Disney you gotta bring that back. Bad call on that, but like I think even without that though, there's something to be said about the Disney bubble, right? And even in California, like I've stayed at Disneyland Hotel, I've stayed at the Grand Californian, and even that, it feels different. It hits different when you stay on property, you know? And I know people poo-poo that, like, oh, why am I going to pay $600 for the Grand Cali a night? It's like, I get it. It's expensive. But you know what? It does make a difference when you can literally walk out of your hotel room into the fucking park, you know, as opposed to walking 3 blocks from the Queen's Inn or something, right? George, you've done it. You know, it's different, you know?
Yeah, it's very different. It's you know, and unfortunately, you know, I tend to stay off property with Disneyland at one of the Good Neighbor hotels just because
we're gonna change that though. One of these days we're gonna change that.
One of these times I have to I have to take it off my Disney bucket list. I want to stay on property because I want to know what it feels like to stay on Disneyland property. I do it for Walt Disney World all the time. You know, I want to stay, you know, at the Disneyland Hotel. I want to stay at the Grand Californian Hotel.
Different.
The Pixar Play Hotel. Anyway, but you know, you got
yeah, exactly. No, we won't stay there. No,
yeah.
You know, honestly, this is the funny thing. Like, I'm a big proponent of on property. Right? Like, I really want to do. Like, one of these days, George, we're gonna do that. We're gonna stay at the Grand Cali or the Disneyland Hotel. But I've also stayed, like personally, I've also stayed off property. I've stayed at the Best Western over there on Ball Road. You know, it was cool. It was fine, you know, but it's just different. You know what I'm saying? There's just 2 different experiences. And it depends on what kind of experience you want to have on that trip, you know? But the Pixar Place Hotel, honestly, dude, that's like so bad. I think I'd rather stay off property. Is that bad to say? I think I would. I think I'd rather stay off property than stay there.
And it's very telling because I mean, like, especially with all this Disneyland Forward going through. I mean, if they really wanted to do something, you know, I get it. It's more so probably going to stay temporary for that theme, just to kind of. Right. But I mean, honestly, and I hate to say this may sound harsh, demolish the shit out of that thing.
Come on, Disney.
Level it out, and boom, you have all that extra space that you could just attach to for Disneyland Forward. I mean, come on, it's a simple operation. You just get some dynamite, a plunger, and kaboom.
Boom, a bulldozer, and you're good to go. Yeah, I wish they would, man, because that whole thing would be perfect, like for an expansion of like DCA and what have you. And they're talking about that.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that is in Disney's best interest, and I think they do have that in good conscience of doing that. I think they just right now, until it is approved and they have the official plans of what's going to go on there, you know, they need another hotel, you know, despite of how crappy it is,
Yeah.
but at least it's still making them money for people to stay there on property.
Right. Yeah, it's a placemaker for sure. And then when they get Disneyland Forward approved and they kind of get these plans in motion, which is a 30-year plan, you know, a very long-term kind of thing, I think that we'll start to see more movement on the removal of that hotel. You know, and maybe they'll have to build another hotel somewhere else to kind of offset the loss, and that's fine. But this Pixar Place Hotel Disney, it's just not it, dude. It's just not it, you know. Like Disneyland Hotel has stepped it up. Like the new villas, maybe we'll do a video on that. I mean, the villas look really, really good. You know, the new DVC tower and the pool area, it looks really cool.
It
does. Grand Cali is gorgeous, super cozy. You know, it's kind of like that Wilderness Lodge kind of vibe.
And the night we went to Oogie Boogie Bash, you know, before we did that, by the way, shout out to Jackie. Hey, Jackie.
Yes.
That you and I were hanging out at the Grand Cali. We were having a sandwich and a beer. We were sitting at the fireplace, just walking around, chilling, hanging. So I would love to stay there. And honestly, the nights that we do, I would just like to stay at the hotel, you know, and just kind of like relax and get a feel for it. Because as I said, I never stayed on property at Disneyland before, but it's definitely on my Disney bucket list.
Yeah, it's different, George. I would love to do it with you one day, man. Like it's not like I'm not even like totally against off property when it comes to Disneyland Resort, because it is a little different than Florida, right? A lot different, you know? So off property at Disneyland Resort isn't terrible. I've done it a few times actually, and it's not terrible. I actually have a really funny story about that when I was like 16 years old, real quick. I don't want to digress too much. When I was 16 years old, we went to Disneyland this is before DCA and the whole thing, right? So we were staying at this hotel. I don't even remember the name of the hotel. I think it was like on Harbor or Catella. I think it was Catella. Not really sure. But my best friend at the time, Sean, okay, I was with him and his family, and we stayed like 2 days at Disneyland, and we're at the hotel. And this is like even before, to give you an idea how old I am, like even before like cell phones and stuff, like before they were like really popular, you know? So we were just so excited, Sean and I, to get into Disneyland, you know? So we checked into the hotel and we were like, okay, fuck it. We're going to Disneyland. And so Sean and I kind of went on our own way the whole day. About 8:30, 9 o'clock that night, okay? Because we were supposed to go back to the hotel and meet his mom and his parents and stuff, you know? Obviously, we got to like fucking sleep, you know? And so about 8:30 that night, I'll never forget it, man. We're on the submarine voyage. And I'm sitting there going, Sean, do you remember the name of our hotel? He goes, no.
Oh my God.
Oh shit, we're in trouble, man. And like all I remembered in my head were like it had a bunch of flags in the front.
So you're walking around Harbor and Catella looking for a bunch of flags.
We didn't even walk around. We got onto like one of the buses, like in the parking lot. This is like pre-DCA, you know? We got into one of the buses and we told the bus driver, like, we have no idea the name of our hotel. Like, just the one with the flags. So we drove around for like an hour because, you know, these buses, they got the routes and all this stuff. And finally we got to it and we found it. But it was so funny. But the off-property thing could be cool, man. And I know you've stayed off-property recently and it's close enough. And it's fun. Like, I had fun with you, man. Like, staying, like, you know, we were close enough where it was walkable, but it was, you know, it was cool.
Yeah.
But I think that if you were to stay at the Grand Cali or the Disneyland Hotel, it would really change your perception. It's a different kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah. And I definitely have to do it because then I would be a complete hypocrite because I always entice people, like when they go to Walt Disney World, stay on Disney property, stay in the bubble. So yeah, I have to make it happen. At least, even if it's just once in my lifetime.
Yeah. No, we'll make it happen. We'll do it. We'll do it. Now that you've been out here more and you're moving to California and stuff like that, we'll definitely do like even just like 2 days, like one night, 2 days or whatever, you know, we'll make it happen. Yeah. The Grand Cali is cool. Personally, I love the Grand Cali the most just because it's the most cozy. It's got that woodsy kind of feel to it. And, I don't know. That's my preference, but I mean, Disneyland Hotel is great too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. We'll have to see and definitely, check it out, you know, especially with the new, the DVC tower that they added over at the Disneyland Hotel, now the villas, and it's like, Disneyland, they're moving, like they want to catch up to Walt Disney World.
Yeah, I know. I wish we had the space I wish we had the space to really like go all out with that and really do it.
Because it feels like Disneyland is hungry for it, and I feel like that they would utilize the space well.
Yeah, they're hungry. They're thirsty. They're hungry. They want it because there's more growth potential there. Disneyland Resort right now is only a 2-day resort. Really, it's one day for each part. You can add a lot to that. You know what I'm saying? And Disney World, it's a lot harder because it's already 1 week long vacation. It's harder to add another day for the average family, and you got to factor in the Universal shit too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said universal shit. I apologize. I don't mean literal shit. I'm just saying.
Yeah. When it's like, and if they do that, they add, a new hotel, get rid of the Pixar Place hotel, and expand. I mean, they could expand Disneyland if they wanted to. I mean, I think Disneyland is good right now where it's at, but expand.dca definitely because it needs it, and then a third gate, and bam, Disneyland's golden.
Boom. Now, before we close out, George, any establishments in the area that you recommend outside of Disneyland that you would say is a quality experience? Or no? I'm just kidding.
I have a few, but I think like the one that I'll probably talk about most on this show that I feel like I wouldn't get anybody in trouble would still be my Carl's Jr.
I love Carl's. I absolutely love Carl's. Absolutely fantastic. So, George, if you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You could find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on the podcast, A Walk with Walt. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And oh shit, I don't have. Here we go. Thank you so much, George, for coming on, talking shop with me. We have actually a really, really fun show tonight with the guys from Bad Thoughts Podcast, Candid Camper, and Tones. And we're recording tonight. It can be a really, really fun show. A very different kind of show for OG 55. It'll be very, very fun. So we're going to do that tonight. Look for that very soon. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye, everybody.